Good afternoon to you, everybody. Good to see you here on this Monday afternoon. It's been a soggy weekend, second half of the weekend anyway, for a lot of us, especially I'd say east. We're talking Cuyahoga, Lake, Geauga, Ashtabula counties. And that's the reason why we have flood watches up for those counties. And you'll see that in a second here. Everybody else, it's kind of hit or miss showers and embedded thunderstorms, and that's really the case for today, where you'll see some blue sky at times, some sunshine, it gets your mood up, and then here comes the clouds and the rain and possibly some thunderstorms. Oh. And the temperatures are going to be cool too. It's almost like right on the dime, where fall came in last week and the temperatures went from like upper 80s right on down to the 60s, and then we really haven't recovered a whole lot because we haven't seen a whole lot of sunshine, and then the winds are coming in out of the north, so it was really that persistent cool breeze. I know those of you who like fall, you're like, well, finally it's about time, but I think for the next, I'd say 8 days, I think we've only got one 70-degree day in there, and it's 71 at that. It's not even like it's in the mid to upper 70s or anything, but early on it's just sort of an active pattern. So sometimes when you think of fall, as far as the weather goes, you think of sort of clouds and some showers, maybe kind of fog and dreary, and the changing of the leaves and they're falling on wet pavement. It's that sort of gloomy fall feel, if you will. That's what we've got going on for the next couple of days. And then we'll bring in some sunshine as we head towards the latter part of the week. And then we've got to turn our attention to the weekend, because not only is the Woolly Bear Festival coming up this weekend, which will be my first Woolly Bear Festival, never been there before, so we should see what that beholds. I'm hoping that the remnants of Ian, which we're watching for the weekend, can be closer towards the East Coast as opposed to right up the Appalachian chain, which one model says that it could, and then that'll give us a soggy Sunday. So we'll have to watch for that. Even if you're not going to Woolly Bear, you have some other plans over the weekend, especially Sunday. We'll just have to watch for that for you. So these are the headlines, where we sort of, I like doing these lives because, on TV we get like 3.5 minutes to give you the forecast. It's just go, go, go. Here we sort of take our time and relax a little bit and just kind of go through it a little slowly. So it is a soggy and breezy and blustery start to the week with the rain at least through Wednesday, and then we'll dry it out. But the cool temperatures tomorrow and Wednesday. Temperatures only in the 50s, and then once we dry out on Thursday and bring some more sunshine back out here, then we'll start to bring the temperatures back up into the 60s. But our next chance for rain comes in again after Wednesday, over the weekend, second half of the weekend, with the chances for Ian to affect us. All right, so closer here to today, we've got 2 to 4 inches that could still be realized with the rain in Cuyahoga Lake, Geauga, and Ashtabula County. So that's why we've got the flood watch there until tomorrow night. So some of these creeks and rivers, just kind of heads up, just kind of watch for those as they could slowly rise. But I think the biggest threat too is that these thunderstorms can put down a lot of rainfall in a short amount of time. So the flash flooding potential is there too, along with the ponding on the roadways. And that's right now, and I'll show you in a second here the radar where we're seeing some of that. First on the time lapse, honestly, primarily west and south. You're not seeing a whole lot of rain yet, but it's really east, and especially right up along the lake. So I'll show you that time lapse to show you downtown, where we started the day off with sunshine. We'll get some clouds in with the heating of the day as this low pressure moves in waves of clouds. Then even out west of Put-in Bay, started the day off with sunshine, get a mix of sun and clouds as we go throughout the day. And then down in Canton, the south view. Again, you start the day off with some sunshine here, and then we'll bring the clouds in later on into the late morning into the afternoon, but you're seeing a little bit more sunshine than they're seeing out east. So if you look just, I'd say close to Lake Michigan or maybe Lake Huron, you'll see this spin in the atmosphere. Maybe it's I'd say right up the upper peninsula of Michigan there, and then over towards Ontario, Canada, is where it's moving. You can see that center of that low pressure just kind of spinning right there. And so a little closer here, that's why you'll see at times where you got some blue sky and then at times you got the clouds and the showers, and then blue sky and clouds and showers. So notice most of us, it's hit or miss, but then you look up towards Lake County, Ashtabula County, northern portions of Geauga County, that's where we're seeing that's the lake effect rain showers, where the air moves across the lake, picks up that moisture, develops the clouds and the showers, a better chance of that happening. And so that's where, again, primarily the concern is for flooding. So right now, Ashtabula over towards Pierpont, Andover, Thompson, North Madison, Mentor, all those folks right along 90 there, seeing the showers and storms, and just southward too. And that's where primarily it's been over the weekend, and that's where we'll see it primarily over the next couple of days too. And we scoot just a little bit further south here, and I'll show you the accumulation over the past 24 hours. Now, this 24-hour estimate, it's a running 24 hours. So when I showed this on air at 12 o'clock, where you see that 3.2 inches, that was 4 inches. So these darker, these greens is where we see more rainfall. Over towards Ashtabula County, seeing last 24 hours a little over 1.5 inches. And this is just an estimate from the radar. This isn't actuals. The actual could be a little higher than this, but that just serves to show you that we have gotten plenty of rainfall over the past 24 hours, and then there's still more to go. And so that's why the flooding threat and the flooding potential is there. So again, Cuyahoga County, Lake County, Ashtabula County, even portions of Geauga County seeing the biggest flooding threat there. So just a heads up, if you're listening to me there, you're probably seeing some heavy rains right now where you live, and unfortunately that's the big story for the next couple of days, is the flooding potential there and the ponding on the roadways. Some of the areas that have the dips and things like that constantly flood whenever you get a good heavy rain, just kind of watch out for those areas too. All right, so temperatures right now in the lower 60s. This is about where we'll stay for the rest of the day. Don't see us getting any warmer than this. I mean, maybe a degree or two, but other than that, that's about it. Winds are pretty gusty too. Coming in out of the west, about 10 to 20 miles an hour sustained, and then every now and again you get a good gust. Earlier, I was on there at noon, and we had a gust, I think 38 miles an hour at Burke Lakefront. So, and that's usually the case at Burke. I mean, it's coming across the lake, and there's no friction there, so it's unimpeded. So we can really whip, but you get a little bit more of an accurate feel. You head down to Hopkins or Akron, Canton, Worcester, which still gusts up to about 29 miles an hour at Akron, Canton, Lorraine 25, New Philly 25, Mansfield 24. So it's a cool, showery, blustery day, if you will. And blustery, that's a term in meteorology, especially broadcast meteorologists. Generally, we use that term if it's in the wintertime, if it's colder, and the winds are whipping, and we tend to use blustery. But I don't know, sometimes we're kind of cool right now, so maybe blustery might work. But either way, either term you want to use, whether it's windy or blustery, you get the picture. It's awfully gusty out there. So this is a map here just to show you that the timing 12 to 7 is a good timing, where the bulk of the rain showers, the heaviest of the rain is where you see that flood watch earlier, where you see that darker green over towards those counties. And then we see a little bit more in the way of shower and storm activity, a little further south and west too, but it's more scattered. And down towards New Philly and central Ohio and what have you, you just see a little bit more in the way of dry conditions, partly to mostly cloudy skies, and temperatures staying on the cooler side. Big trough of low pressure right there. When you see those things like that, that's a dip in the pressure in the atmosphere. And then when you see out west, see that, we call that a ridge out there, where the pressure is higher the further up you go. And then over here the pressure is lower, where it's supposed to be subsiding, or it's supposed to reside in the upper levels of the atmosphere, but the pressure drops as you get down here. So that means that we get the showers and thunderstorms that form, and you get some cooler air as well that comes in from Canada. So we got cool temperatures around for much of the week. It's not until we get towards late week, where we get some sunshine and dry out and a wind shift, that we get the warmer temperatures. Now see that L, that low pressure down towards Florida, that's representative of Ian right there. And look what that does. That moves right up there. We stop it right there because that's where the cone of uncertainty sort of stops at this point, because it's uncertain where that thing is going to go past, I'd say, past Wednesday. And this here is looking at next Monday. This actually could be a little sooner. That could actually be representative of Saturday, where that thing could be. So one model, again, has this shifted over towards the Carolinas. It could be on the East Coast. But then this other model says, no, it'll come right up the chain here. And so by next Sunday, possibly into Monday, that's where we could see the impacts of rain and storms from Ian. So again, if you got the outdoor plans, just keep your eye to the sky and keep the forecast on the TV and on your apps, because this could impact us as we go throughout the weekend. All right, so 8-hour forecast, just on and off again, scattered rain and storms. Temperatures in the 60s for the afternoon, falling through the 50s in the evening time. I mean, that's the pattern. All right, speaking of Ian, there it is, Category 1, 80-mile-an-hour sustained winds, gusts up to 100 miles an hour. These water temperatures in the Caribbean, so this is the fuel for these storms, and you may or may not have heard this before, but the reason this is the peak of hurricane season is because you need the oceans to sit there all summer and bake with the sun and the summer heat. And so by the time we get to September, they've reached their maximum temperature, which is in the 80s. And then when you head down the Caribbean, we're talking 88, 89 degree water down there. It's like getting into a very warm bath. And so it's like when you turn on your oven. You know, you may want to bake something on 350. Well, as soon as you turn it on to 350, that's not when it's hot. So that's sort of the first day of summer right there. You turn it right to 350. Now you sit there and you let it bake for, I don't know, an hour, and then, you know, it reaches its maximum potential there. That's the same thing with the oceans. First day of summer, we start to warm things up. You let it sit there for 3 months on 350, using the oven analogy. Then it's at its warmest. So we finally start to cool down from the summer. We're in the fall, so we turn the oven off, and it doesn't cool down instantly. It's still sitting there at its highest temperature. And so that's why we got these very warm temperatures that fuel these storms. And there are other storms in the tropics that I won't show you at this point. They're just not relevant right now. Ian is the big one that could affect folks in Florida. And so we look at that, and that's why it could become a Category 4 hurricane by the time we get into the day on Wednesday at 120 miles an hour, because of the very warm upper 80 degree temperatures there in the ocean. Now, other factors we look at in the atmosphere is the upper atmosphere, wind shear. So if there's wind shear, that rips the storms apart, that rips the upper part of the storms apart, and they can't stay a cohesive unit. And so as it approaches the northern Gulf and into Florida, it encounters some wind shear, and so that starts to weaken the storm, so it can make landfall as a Category 3 or a Category 2 as opposed to a Category 4. So that's some good news, but at the same time, no one wants to see a Cat 3 or a Cat 2 storm. It could go anywhere from this cone of uncertainty down in the southern western part of Florida to the Panhandle up towards Panama City. That's that model spread. The one model that says it'll go up the eastern seaboard, that's the model that says, oh, it's going to go into the southern portions of Florida, make landfall there. The model that says, no, it's going to climb up climb up the Appalachian chain, that's the model that's going into Panama City right there. So you take the difference betwixt the two, you take that middle line, and that's the official forecast. And of course, this adjusts all the time as we get more information, as we get closer towards the event. But nonetheless, there are tons of folks who are evacuating or preparing for evacuations in Florida because of this storm. So we'll have to watch it as we go through the weekend. That's that 20% in Florida, or 20% on Saturday that you see right there. If you look to the bottom of Ohio on that map, you'll start to see that green. So that could be the remnants of that storm climbing up the Appalachian chain there and giving southern Ohio some showers and storms. And then by the time we reach Sunday, that's when all of Ohio, especially northeast Ohio, will see that. That's if that solution starts to verify. And so that's the other part of this daily breakdown. Second part, Thursday and Friday, we're dry with partly cloudy skies. And then for Tuesday and Wednesday, more of the same. Rain, thunderstorms, watch for some flooding, some ponding on the roadways. All right, here's the Futurecast. This gives us the guidance here. So this afternoon, more of the same. Notice though, it was confined up to the lake here early on, but now we start to see some of that towards Findlay and Bucyrus start to fill in. And then even in the evening time, it's not just along the lake. We start to get those showers as far south as New Philly, over towards Youngstown and Columbiana County as well. And that dries out somewhat as we go into the overnight hours. And then for the morning rush tomorrow, more scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms again. Probably won't be as sunny as this morning. And then for the afternoon tomorrow, more scattered showers and storms. And then by the evening time, we start to dry it out with more isolated in nature. But then overnight, as we get into Tuesday night into Wednesday, more scattered rain showers. There's the afternoon on Wednesday through the evening time, more scattered rain showers. Then we start to dry it out as we get into the overnight, Wednesday night into Thursday. So today, cloudy, cool, breezy, some showers and storms, gusty winds, again up to about 30, 35 mile an hour gusts at times. Tonight, it's pretty cool, only in the upper 40s, and that is the city temperature. And so some of us in the outlying areas could be in some mid to upper 40s. Probably won't go too much cooler, only because we do have the clouds around and the scattered showers, and it's pretty gusty. So that also inhibits us from getting too much colder. The clouds kind of act like a blanket. Any heat of the day that we have, it keeps it from escaping out into space. More the same tomorrow, but we're cooler. Only 59. 47 is where we're going Tuesday night, and then 46 Wednesday night into Friday. I suspect by the time we get into Wednesday night and Thursday night, we really start to cool down in the outlying areas, because we probably will have some partially cloudy skies or partial clearing overnight. So we're in for some cold nights, or maybe some cool nights. We know it really gets cold around here, so I won't use the word cold yet. I'll say cool. We're in for some cool nights here for the work week. Sunshine, upper 60s. We flirt with 70 on Thursday and mid 60s on Friday. Then for Saturday, 71, predominantly cloudy with probably the remnants of the storm starting to move a little closer. And then on Sunday, we keep a 30% placeholder in there for showers and storms for Ian's path. We just kind of watch it and fine tune the forecast as we get later on into the week. And then next Monday, again, another question mark. We'll just put partly cloudy with a 20% chance in mid 60s there as that placeholder. But notice the temperatures at night at least come back up into the 50s, so it's not as chilly. All right, so I know it's been, it seems like it's been a long time since we started this, that we've gone for a while. I don't know. I just, again, like to take it slow and explain the forecast to you. Otherwise, you can just watch TV and no big whoop. But today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, the big story, again, showers and storms, especially if you live in the Cuyahoga, Lake, Ashtabula, Geauga counties, those areas. It's really a concern to you because you have the greatest flooding. I'm not trying to blow it out of the water, pun intended, but that's just the biggest story here early on. Then the next is the cool temperatures. You're just going to have to take the jacket with you throughout the day. Fall's really coming in like a vengeance. And then the weekend, the third story, keeping an eye on the weekend, especially second half of the weekend, where we could see the remnants of Ian giving us some more rain and thunderstorms. And then if that's the case, then the flooding potential will ramp up there, because not only is it heavy rain because it's a tropical system, but the areas that are already receiving this rain now will receive more rain then, which really increases the chance for flooding because the soil in the ground is just saturated at this point. So just all eyes on the weekend from there. So enjoy the next couple of days. And then we'll dry out as we get into Thursday and Friday and warm it up a little bit. But it is going to be cool for you fall lovers out there. You finally got your season and the cool temperatures where you can wear the hoodies and the jackets and drink the pumpkin spice and the apple cider. I'm an apple cider person. Go apple cider. Maybe I'll have to get some of that. In the evenings, I drink decaf coffee as opposed to the caffeinated coffee, but maybe it's fall now. Maybe I might have to switch to some apple cider. We'll see. I hope everybody has a great Monday. I will see you on air at 4 o'clock. My partners in crime, Andre Bernier and Mackenzie Bart, will join me. We'll get you all through your evening and night shows and get you caught up with the latest forecast, which I will have to hop off now and go do and forecast. So we have the latest information coming up at 4. All right, everybody take care. See you then.